All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking high-temperature environments out on the factory floor. Now, I know it's super easy to brush off a hot day as just, another sweaty shift. But workplace heat is a severe physiological threat. And the kicker? It's a completely preventable injury risk. So let's get into the actual mechanics of occupational safety.
Okay, let's jump right into this. This official safety playbook isn't just a list of polite suggestions. It's a collaborative guide with one massive unified goal, ensuring every single person who walks onto the floor gets home safely at the end of their shift. It requires a fundamental shift in how we view our environment and put safety first.
So, let me ask you a question. Think about your last shift. Be honest, were you waiting until you actually felt thirsty to grab a drink of water? If you were, you're already behind. Let's totally shatter a common misconception right now. Thirst is a delayed signal. Your body is literally already in a state of dehydration by the time you feel it. And in a high-heat environment, trying to catch up is incredibly difficult.
To tackle that, we're laying out our structured safety playbook mental map. Today we're covering 1. Understanding heat injuries. 2. Core prevention principles. 3. The golden hydration rules. 4. Joint workplace responsibilities. And 5. Our 4 emergency response steps. This way, everyone knows exactly what life-saving protocols and shared duties we're tackling today. Okay, starting right off with Section 1, Understanding Heat Injuries, the Invisible Threat. Because recognizing the severe physiological attack is our absolute first line of defense, right? You just can't fight an enemy you don't understand. When you're doing heavy manual labor in a hot, humid factory, your body's internal cooling system kicks into absolute overdrive. If the ambient temperature is higher than your skin temperature, you can't radiate heat naturally, so you rely entirely on sweating. If that sweat can't evaporate properly, your core temperature spikes and bam, that is when the invisible threat turns into a full-blown medical emergency. Which leads us perfectly into Section 2, Core Prevention Principles, your daily defense.
Let's break down the actual daily defense habits you need on the factory floor. Think of this as your daily armor. First, hydrate constantly. We're talking water and electrolyte replenishing sports drinks, but crucially you have to avoid alcohol and heavily caffeinated drinks. Second, rest. This means strictly following regulated rest times based on the temperature and how intense the labor is, and actively rotating out of heavy tasks. And third, cool down. Wear light-colored, breathable, sweat-absorbing clothing, and make sure you're maximizing the use of factory fans, water cooling fans, or AC systems while resting in designated shaded areas. All right, moving right along to Section 3, the golden hydration rules. This is all about proactive intake.
Let's lock in on this number, 250 cc. That's roughly the volume of one standard paper cup of cool water. To offset the massive sweat loss you experience during heavy labor, safety standards mandate consuming this exact amount every 15 to 20 minutes. Hear me on that, not every hour, every 15 to 20 minutes.
The crucial takeaway here is super simple. Do not wait until you're thirsty to drink water. If you follow that 15 to 20 minute rule, your total daily intake should easily hit between 2,000 and 3,000 cc, if not more. And a massive warning for you, sugary drinks, heavy caffeine, and alcohol actually accelerate your water loss. They're diuretics. They absolutely cannot replace pure water in your defense strategy. No way.
Okay, on to Section 4, Joint Workplace Responsibilities. It's a total team effort.
Because let's face it, you cannot do this alone. This perfectly balances the equation of workplace safety. On one side, you've got the employer's absolute duty, providing accessible drinking water and electrolytes, physically improving the workspace with better ventilation, setting up air-conditioned rest zones, and carefully managing work hours for high-risk employees. But on the flip side, the employee has a vital duty too. You have to wear that breathable gear properly, actively monitor your own body, and actually communicate how you're feeling.
A real game changer here is the buddy system. Under the employee's self-protection protocols, you're tasked with constantly monitoring the physical and mental state of the person working right next to you. The playbook explicitly states, never, ever tough out weakness. If you or your buddy feel dizzy or weak, you stop working immediately and report it to a supervisor. There is zero room for ego when you're dealing with heat stroke.
Finally, we hit Section 5, the 4 emergency response steps. Your crisis protocol.
Despite all our prevention, we need absolute, unshakable clarity on how to respond when a heat injury actually happens on the floor. Here is the critical 1, 2, 3, 4 progression for stabilizing a coworker. Step 1, Swiftly move the affected person out of the high heat zone and into a shaded, well-ventilated, or air-conditioned area so they can lie flat. Step 2, loosen their clothing, unbutton shirts, loosen belts, wipe their skin with cold water, and use fans to rapidly dissipate that trapped body heat. Step 3, replenish fluids with cool water or electrolytes, but only if they are fully conscious. And Step 4, if their symptoms don't relieve, if they stop sweating, or if they lose consciousness, you seek immediate medical help. Call 119 for an ambulance right away.
Now, I really want to pause and make this next point absolutely clear, because it is literally a matter of life and death. If your coworker is unconscious or their mental state is altered, you must never force liquids into their mouth. I know the instinct is to give them water, but doing so carries an incredibly high risk of fatal choking. The water will just go straight into their lungs. Seriously, do not do it.
So just remember the strict chronological order: moving, cooling, hydrating, and calling for emergency backup. You don't call for help while leaving them in the blazing heat, and you don't try to hydrate them before getting their clothing loosened to cool down. Following this exact sequence is exactly how you save a life on the factory floor.
Which brings us to our final core message. Stay alert and go home safe. If you feel any discomfort at all, report it immediately. Please, don't force yourself to keep going. Know your emergency extension. In this case, it's 9119. I want to leave you with this provocative thought. Knowing the invisible threat of heat, knowing the 250cc hydration rule, and knowing the buddy system. Are you vigilant enough today to ensure that both you and the coworker standing right beside you return home safely to your families tonight? Stay cool and stay safe out there.